Hello there, my name's Mark and these are my Dice Tales, and this is an end of 2023, start of 2024 video update. So the plan is possibly just to keep talking, and my video view's not been very good recently, so I'm fixing things, so I'm probably just going to have to steal videos of pictures cycling around here or going over the entire thing. So what have I been playing? Pulp Alley's been on the list, Elder Scrolls Cold Swarm's been on the list, Galleys and Galleons, and that's about it. And then one other game. Now this is going to be like a salesy, pitchy. It doesn't mean to be, but it's just really a game right at the end of 2023 grabbed me quite a lot, and that game is Kings of War. I didn't expect it to be so. I have played it before. I have tried it solo and thought it was a bucket of dice and not for me, not for solo play anyway. But a player posted in the Facebooks and said, anyone fancy a game in 10 mil? Now 10 mil is definitely where I like to be. I've had Nick Wright's Fantastic Battles. I did try War Master, way too difficult, way too fussy for me. All my models were based in that 2x4 basis, and then Fantastic Battles seemed great, but I couldn't quite get many people to engage with me to play it. So Kings of War, I'll give it a go. Did it involve a little bit of pesky rebasing, so they're slightly wider than War Master bases, and then heavy infantry and elites and monsters are all on slightly different. But I think that's going to be a good thing in the end. I don't think I'm going to go back to playing War Master. I did consider magnetizing to go back and play Fantastic Battles. I still want to try that out with other people. But for now, let's focus on Kings of War, because it's really grabbed me. I know it is a competitive game. That's because it's a very balanced game. And it's a quick game as well with very little rules. I did have the rulebook before. It is quite thick and chunky, but it's actually only 30 pages, which are the actual rules. The rest of the book is lore and then army lists of good, I think they say 29 factions. I mean, that's a bit much, but it's definitely got all the core factions that you'd ever want, and some interesting ones like Night Stalkers, which are fairly unique. I haven't seen, let's call them ghostly undead, but I mean, I don't know. They're a bit more of a twist on that, I think. A bit more unique looking than just being ghostly. Anyway, what grabbed me about it? 1, I could play it in 10 mil. 2, I could play it at 750 points. They've got little ambush rules, which are pretty much the same, but just restrict your list building, so you can't take 2 heroes, and you can't take large hordes, and you play on a smaller board, which is fantastic. I like smaller, so 10 mil, half-sized main board, so 6x4 is your main game. So if we're just halving absolutely everything, halving the base sizes, halving every single measurement range-wise and movement-wise, so we played on a 2x3, yeah, that works out, and it worked out perfectly well. And ambush you can even play on a smaller board than that. I'd probably recommend 2x2. I think they do go slightly smaller in the rules, but I think 2x2 just gives you a bit more manoeuvring options. You're not essentially just clashing on one game. Anyway, there'll be a picture of that, I'm sure. Right, what else grabbed me? So I played 750 points to all the way up to 2,300 points, and because I've enjoyed it so much, I've signed up to a tournament in this coming March this year, 2024. So there is that. It's grabbed me that much. I like that you can play different styles of list building, and it grabbed me because it's competitive and it's balanced. It reminded me of Netrunner, the card game, where you're a hacker versus a corporation. But on that game, there was lots of list building. I play a game and then think, oh, how do I get past this ice? I'm going to need to sacrifice something and get this other unit in here, this card in. But I feel the same with Kings of War. I mean, if he's bringing flying units, I'm probably going to have to bump up the flanks spear units in my lists. If he's bringing monsters, maybe I can sacrifice a spell to get a sword of beast slaying on one of my heroes or something like that. Now my first list, I was like a newbie player, and I said, oh, I played elves, by the way. That's my predominant army. So I wanted a bolt thrower, I wanted a mage, I wanted a giant tree, I wanted flying units. So I had everything, and possibly because I come from skirmish gaming, I like a lot of train on the board. We probably played with too much train on the board, and I had big units like hordes. I didn't know how to use them. I just knew that this game handled them, and A lot of tournament players recommend a horde or two, but I struggled really manoeuvring it. So in the next game, I cut down on the hordes and just went lots of small units. That went much better. And then we looked at how other people are playing the game and thought, oh, there's a little app here, dash28.com. You can say, make me a board. It'll tell you where to place your hills and your forests and your rough terrain to a tournament standard. I mean, you can go more narrative. You can go more terrain heavy for your story if you're just playing casual with a friend. But hey, I like to play balanced, I guess, without being symmetrical. And the next games did improve on that. And then I started just list building. I thought, right, okay, I've struggled with all these units, just a hodgepodge of what I like. Let's try and get used to some of them. So I went cavalry heavy. I love that. I loved that army. I feel like I baited my opponent to play on the right flank, and then when he played his heavy units to counter me, I just turned my cavalry 90 degrees and marched them off the other direction. And because I predominantly played dwarves in my first couple of games, I reckon I've played half a dozen now. That's about 6 or 7. If you don't know your dozens. Anyway, that was a great game. I felt all my games up until that point could be being very down to the last couple of turns, where it was manoeuvring, placing the right units, trying to get a nice flank roll, very tactical. So really enjoyable. There's only been one game since then. This is like take 3 of this video, by the way. But I have got extra games in since take 1, so I've got a bit more of an insight. So as I say, I play cavalry, then I started going infantry heavy, then I figured out flanks, because he was playing some dwarf bear riders or something like that. They were very nasty and they were doing a lot of damage to me. So then I figured out, I can take flanks, and then Sea Guard, they've got spears and bows. They're dual use, a bit more expensive, so less of them, getting my armies more elites. So I've gone both ways. I've gone many small units, and I've gone very elite, and now I'm sort of getting the gist of it. I can sort of read the lists more. It's not quite as easy as, say, Dragon Rampant, where you've got light, medium, heavy, elite, because all the little armies have, it does have infantry, heavy infantry, large infantry. But then it names the units a bit like Warhammer. It gives them silly names like Stormbreeze and Kindred Tall Spears or something like that. So it takes a bit of working out, but once you've played a few games, you can sort of read a profile and say, that's got high defense, that's got a lot of speed, this one's got an extra turning maneuver bit, this one flies, etc. This one's got higher nerve. Look how high that nerve is. If he gets hit, he's going to take a while to be knocked out, especially if I double him up and they double into troops, regiments, hordes, and it's just the same unit footprint, but then it doubles and doubles again, which is really nice. Also, well, one, I'm playing in miniature scale, I'm playing in 10mm, but so in that case I don't have to paint 30 of the same models on one blooming base. That just puts me off wargaming whatsoever. But you never take units off, so you can just have one base, and you can put it scenically, so you can put a bit of terrain on there, put a bit of a broken tower or ruins or hills or rocky outcroppings, and put your men on top and make it look a little bit like a beautiful diorama. That's cool. I mean, my 10mm guys come in rank and flank anyway, but they're easy to paint. A bit of a silver, a bit of the details, and then a wash, and they look good at arm's length. So that's what it's got going for it. So it plays well between 750 all the way up to 2,300. Very tense games. There was only one game which I felt I was tabled, though I was enjoying the game and thought I had a chance up until the point that I realised I was tabled. And that was because, again, I've played dwarves so often, I suddenly played a very fast, very hard-hitting army that herd, and I was just off balance. Harpies ate my army. I was stuck. I got locked in with the Beastmen regiments, and then Harpies came round my back flanks. I thought I'd positioned well enough to stop them getting in, but I didn't. I was expecting dwarf speeds or my Draken speeds, which is only 7. They were speed 10, and they were rolling vicious, and they were getting through terrain with Pathfinder rules and things like that. It was cool. That leads us on to another plus. Each army has its own unique flavour and twist. So my elves are elite. So as a flavour of that rule, it means when I'm rolling to hit, I can reroll my ones, which gives me a higher average of hits. The Beastman army, they seem to be very vicious or have auras that gave them vicious. That's like counter to mine. Every hit they cause, when they roll to wound, damage, then they reroll their ones to make sure it causes damage. So they do a higher amount of damage outputs compared to what they've hit. Where I might hit a lot, but might not cause a wound because we're not very hard hitting, we're not crushing strength. So there's that. So plays well between 7 to 2,000 points. Very tight scenarios, only one game that I was tabled on. Plays well on a small table with 10mm, and it's also played well. I had a 28mm player, and all I needed to do to play against him was cut out some cardboard footprints for what would be a 28mm base, stick my little unit on the middle of it. I mean, I'm going to tart it up, and originally the photos you'll see here is just a cardboard footprint, but I'm planning on going to a tournament with these 10mm. I have been invited to play my 10mm army, but just tart up these bases a little bit so my little 10mm models look a bit nicer and fit into the scenery a bit more. So I've got plans. I don't know if I can fill those plans before March, but so my 10mm models versus 28mm armies. It felt like Gulliver's Travels, Lilliput versus the Giants. But gameplay-wise, it played exactly the same. You could see that my guys were on horses, so they're cavalry units. You could see they were flyers because they were wings. You could see they had spears, so everything fulfilled. It was very easy to see what an army was. And the footprint is all that mattered. I've been put off playing this for a long time with other players because they called it Geometry Wars. And I don't really see that. I mean, maybe when I get to tournament level, I'll see people pulling off shenanigans, and this gets me on to thinking the game's a little bit like X-Wing. You know, you're going to pull in, you're going to try and get arcs, you're going to squeeze past the other player, make sure that they can't hit you back, and it can get very frustrating. I've just found it as a great rank and flank, you know, like a line of battle. You're sort of moving up, and then you have a heavy unit which will stop someone moving, could be a tar pit, and your little nimble units are trying to get around the edges without trying to be shot off. So your mages and your spellcasters and your own archers are trying to take off their ranged units, and it just felt like chaos. And again, this is a Netrunner thing. It's like, okay, my deck's here, but what is the chaos? What is my opponent bringing to the table, which is going to change all my plans? And I've just found it fantastic. It's an addiction. It's grabbed me, and I guess this has grabbed me more than quite a lot of any other games. One, because I'm playing with other opponents, so you get that feedback. There's the to and fro of trash talk, I guess, and knowing what your armies are going to be. I don't think I know I've been playing dwarves. I'm fairly fast, but that's just natural between our two armies. But I don't think we've been trying to beat each other's lists as such. We've just been playing and getting used to the units that we have. So I've been through, as I say, I've been through an infantry list, I've been through a cavalry list, I've been through a mixed list, I've been through trying to do a shooty list. I try to keep it mostly balanced, but I do sort of switch those, so I know a bit more now. So going into my next game, I think I'm in the right place and balance. It just depends on what I'm facing, and I'll learn more as I play more games, and I'm sure this tournament in March is going to teach me lots. So Kings of War, yeah. So I know there's a lot of talk about the old world right now. I've seen that it needs like 3 rule books. I've seen that it's rank and flank and you're taking off units and things like that. It's 28mm, so I don't have the space for it. So it's not for me. Kings of War was a surprise. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video about that and keep the channel flowing a little bit and say Happy New Year as well. So that is it. Me, excited about Kings of War, playing it in 10mm with Forest Dragons, STLs. You can get Pendragon 10mm miniatures. I've mentioned Pendragon because that's ones I've been looking at for certain armies, maybe where Forest Dragon hasn't got what I wanted. I mean, there are loads of 10mm army makers out there, and 3D opens your world as well. So there is that. I've also struck down Armada, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to add to this list. I want to keep it at the 20-minute mark. We're getting there now. Otherwise, that game of 2023 was probably the skirmish game, The Doomed, as it played so well and fast. I have played those other games because I thought, you know, I'm loving The Doom, but have I dismissed these other games? But I think I'm going to go back to The Doomed again, to be honest, and possibly the Stargrave. But I think everything for me right now is perfecting my 3D printing. I want to try and get a few models out there, or mesh mixings, and list building and preparing for this tournament in March. So yeah, hobby update. Hope you enjoyed the photos over here. Hope they made sense. I'll see if I can get a caption underneath of what they were as well. So Mark, Happy New Year. I hope you made some good memories over the festive period, and hope you've got many good new memories to make in this new year. So thank you very much. Have a great 2024. Mark's Dice Tales signing off. Goodbye.